Happy Father's Day. So there's something that you should know about me before I begin this talk. I love men. I'm a fan. I love guys. I love dudes. I love it. Growing up, most of my friends were guys. I'm a guy's girl, whatever that means. I love men. And I know that it's important in elevated consciousness circles to emphasize the divine feminine, to balance out, to counterbalance what's happened culturally over the last, 6,000 years. And sometimes I think we've overshot the mark, because I see wonderful, kind, deep, strong, gentle, beautiful, good men every day of my life. Here, at home, everywhere I go, I see these amazing men. And sometimes I feel like we've been beating on them a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? A little bit too much. I am all for the divine feminine. If you were here for the Mother's Day talk, you heard all about the divine feminine, and I love it. I love it in the witchy, goddessy goodness. And there's this whole aspect of the divine masculine that's there too, not just in men, but in every one of us. I love Mark's song said, so strong you can be gentle, so brave you can be kind. There's a place to rest in these traditionally masculine traits that center in each one of us. You know, as much as I love the divine feminine, it takes male and female, masculine and feminine, to create life. And it takes a balance of those qualities to create a happy life. So today, on Father's Day of all days, we are going to celebrate the divine masculine. Yay! It's also June. What, no cheer for June? I mean, I know it's Phoenix and June's getting hot and all that. But when we talk about, it's not just boy and it's not just girl, it's not just male and it's not just female. For those of us in the room that are gender non-binary, who are gender non-conforming, or who are just really open, it's important for those of us in the room, and maybe the rest of us too, to remember that June is Pride. So please know that we don't expect anyone in this room, or frankly anyone anywhere, to conform to any specific thing. What we want is to create an environment that is so safe and so loving and so wonderful that whoever you are rises up naturally from the center of your being and is celebrated by the beloveds you meet here. Yeah? Yeah. The divine masculine. Oh, this was not a hard talk to write because I started leaning into the stereotypes we have of men. And usually it said like this, oh, men. Men. But there are these qualities that are so essential, that are part of that masculine energy. And the first one I want to talk about is the quality of order. Order. Who learned to budget from their dad? I did. Who learned to fix stuff from their dad? Who just let their dad fix it? There is a thing about organizing and systems and fixing that is just such a masculine thing, right? We make jokes about it. Don't tell him. He's just going to try to fix it. He's not going to want to listen. He's just going to hop in and try to fix it. There's a Dixie Chicks song that I love. I love. It's old now, so those of you who are old like me, remember the song Wide Open Spaces? It's about a young woman who's going off on her first big adventure and moving cross country, and her parents take her somewhere out west, I'm guessing California. And they drop her off, and the mom is just losing it. "I can't believe I'm leaving my girl," is the line. The dad, at the very end, leans out the window and yells, "Check the oil." Dad love looks different sometimes, right? But I tell you what, the time you're not stuck on the side of the road because you didn't check your oil, you appreciate that fixing. And I want to say something a little bit controversial here. Bear with me. So, we strong, powerful, spiritual women, you know who you are. We have worked so hard to train the men in our lives. Just listen. We don't need you to do anything. Just hear me. I don't need you to fix it. It's just me, right? I'm the only one who's had these conversations. Here's the deal, though. Sometimes I just want you to fix it. Sometimes I just want it fixed. Am I alone in this? No. See, overshot the mark. So here is the first of many invitations. How about we all get a little bit better about being clear about what we really want? Clear as kind, that's right. Whoever's been in the Dare to Lead class, clear as kind. And then how about we all get a little bit better about expressing what we actually want to those wonderful people in our lives who have been trained to hear, well, my car's broken down in the driveway, and they're thinking, bless your hearts, they're thinking, just listen, don't fix it, just listen, don't fix it. What if we were to say something like, sweetheart, my car is broken down in the driveway. I don't know what to do about that. Could you handle that for me? How, men in the room and people who have this quality in the room, how amazing would it feel to be given permission to act on that quality? Maybe Richard's not sure he wants to fix the car. I hear you, man. And then they can say no. They could say, call AAA. Or they could say, absolutely, sweetheart, I'm on it. Oh, doesn't that feel so much more open and kind and honoring of people's nature, whatever it is? I love that. I love that. From my perspective, the quality of order, of having systems, like, for example, science of mind, having systems in our lives that come from that place of order, create a space where we can relax, where we can be calm, where we understand the nature of what's going on around us. Doesn't that feel lovely? Let's stop making it wrong. Even better than that, let's start celebrating how right that is. It feels good. I feel like the accountants in the room are really vibing with me right now. The second quality I want to talk about is the quality of strength. Strength. It's connected to that infinite quality of power, that divine quality of power. And yes, there have been times when the power over the people around us has become, what's the phrase? Toxic masculinity. I didn't make that phrase up. I don't know if you've ever heard it before. That was a joke. In the era of Me Too, we've all been beaten to death with the phrase toxic masculinity, and it's a real thing. I do not want to minimize it. I don't. Toxic masculinity is what gives rise to things like rape and war. Now, it's not only men who carry toxic masculinity, of course, and it's not all men who carry it. But it is a thing, and it is a thing that we are working as a society to counterbalance, to move beyond, right? When we make something inherently and completely wrong, though, when we take the proverbial strength baby and throw it out with the bathwater, we're eliminating that other side of power, which is power over the self, power within, power to, as opposed to power over anybody else. How on earth are we supposed to teach our boys and young men to not rape and pillage and fight and kill and fill in the blank thing if we don't teach them to have the power within to choose differently? When we throw out all of strength, we throw out self-regulation. We throw out self-awareness, self-realization. It takes a lot of strength to stand in the courage of who you really are, despite what's happening around you, yes? It's essential. And yet when we start making strength wrong, now they're not allowed to fix things and they're not allowed to be tough. These poor men, we've really boxed them into a corner here. Oh. With strength comes will, comes action, comes that place of manifestation, of making yourself present in the world as who you are. It's so important. It's so important. When we think of the flip side, when we think of toxic femininity, I think of like a shrinking violet who just sort of does what she's told, and clearly I've lived this. I've seen it, but I've never lived it. We don't want that for our women, do we? We don't want that for our girls. We want all of our children to have that strength, that power, that divine given anchoredness, the very center of who they are, so that whatever is happening, they are in command of their own selves. Sometimes strength allows us to be gentle. So my favorite example of that is something that I used to do with my dad. My dad and I are very different, very, very different people. But when I think back to my childhood, there's this one particular thing we used to do that, to me, epitomizes strength and gentleness at the same time. And that is all-star wrestling. So I'm 43 years old, which means I was little, during what I'm going to call the Hulk Hogan era. Roddy Piper. Yeah? Yep. And my dad used to all-star wrestle with me on the bed. Anybody do that with their dad? And when I say all-star wrestle, I'm not kidding. He would pick me up over his head and slam me on the bed, and I would laugh. I would come running, and both my little feet would come up and kick him in the belly, and he'd, like he was dying. And my mom was always convinced we were going to break furniture. It was my favorite time with my dad. If you didn't have this experience, that's okay. We've got a little video to show you what that might have looked like. That was not actually video of my father and I, but it could have been. Especially the balancing up on the headboard to leap down. Yeah. But when I was playing that crazy game with my dad, I had his full attention for however long I wanted to play. He never hurt me which kind of looks hard, actually, with all that throwing people around. He always let me be the good guy, and he was the bad guy. I was always Hulk Hogan, obviously. It was maybe the gentlest he ever was with me in my childhood. We get confused about what gentleness looks like. It's just another form of love, even when it's super active, even when it's full-on violent. We need a space for that kind of energy in each one of our lives, however it shows up. However it shows up. The third quality I want to talk about is the quality of abundance. Being a provider. I know so many people, when they think about their dad growing up, they think about going to work and being the breadwinner and taking care of the family and handling retirement and life insurance policies and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of that old-fashioned dad thing. I know it's certainly something that my dad focused on quite a lot and still does. And it's certainly something that my husband focuses on quite a lot. It's also something that the divine Father within focuses on constantly. What we have in this life is the constant capacity to grow and learn and accomplish and expand and explore and manifest. We are walking abundance machines. But we don't know that if we aren't taught it. It can be in us all day long, and we don't know it if we aren't taught it, whether we learn it from our actual physical father or the people who show this quality of understanding how bringing forth good in your life works, be they male or female. And none of us would have it if it wasn't for our connection with the infinite power that is already the truth of who and what we are. Just like the power of strength is always within us, just like the quality of order is inherently in us, this quality of abundance is right there too. An aspect of that is dealing with the problems in the real world. And sometimes we can err in this teaching a little bit on the side of everything's good all the time and sunshine and what is it that I said in my last talk? The entire universe is conspiring for our good, right? It's true. I'll fight all day long for that one. And we live in the physical world. There are actual facts of our physical world happening right now. I can tell you are infinitely abundant, and then you can open up your phone and look at your checking account balance, and which one's going to win? The quality of being able to stay positive while looking at the real world and finding ways to move forward in the physical manifest world as it is right now. To me, that is one of the most sacred masculine qualities that there is. It's so important. It allows us to dream and have foundations under our dreams. It allows us to be spiritual and yet walk those goals out in the real world. Without both sides, we can't be complete. Albert Einstein said, "In the middle of difficulty lies an opportunity." I can't remember which politician it was that said sort of the same thing when they said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." We need to be able to look at the difficulty, though. See it right there. There it is. Before the resolution comes, before the solutions come. It's a natural process of us in our own abundance to come up with what comes next. But to have that happen, we have to have the catalyst, and the catalyst is that masculine quality of being willing to look at the situation. Are you with me? When we allow ourselves to be the wholeness of who we are, absolute power, absolute order, absolute abundance, only then can we feel free. Because freedom is the state when all the God qualities, whether we stereotype them as masculine or feminine, when all the God qualities are present and balanced within us. Freedom from conflict, freedom from fear, freedom from hiding who we are, freedom from things getting in the way, barriers and obstacles to our dreams and our goals. But if we lock ourselves down to only one half of the spectrum and make the other half wrong, we are cutting off our own legs. And we're not just doing it to ourselves, we're doing it to the amazing men in our lives. And I say no. No. I love my own masculine qualities. I love that I can stand up here and say what I have to say, whatever Spirit's put in my brain today, and mean it. I mean, even my hand gestures are masculine. There's a reason I always wear a dress on Sundays. I don't want y'all confused. I consider myself a girl. And I've got strong masculine qualities, and I like them. I'm proud of them. And if you feel that way, I want you to be proud of it too. We are made whole, perfect, and complete exactly the way the divine created us, in its likeness and its image, in all of our different ways of being. And it is good. And all of those qualities, when we share them in a healthy and balanced way with our families, with our friends, with our church buddies, with our prayer partners, they're just different ways of shining love on each other. The love of strength and all-star wrestling, the love of order and making sure your college girl knows to check her oil before she burns out her car engine, the love of teaching us to budget and plan and structure our lives so we get to retire someday. Oh, dare to dream. I love the giggle section right here. It's excellent. My closing thought comes from Vincent van Gogh, a genius who never got to be a father, but who left us many thoughts and beautiful, loving images. He said, "Love many things, for therein lies the true strength. And whoever so loves much performs much and can accomplish much. And what is done in love is done well." So let's celebrate every part of ourselves. And today, and every day, let's celebrate our men. And so it is. I'd like to invite the practitioners in training, and ministers to rise and share this prayer with me. How good it is to know that every single part of ourselves is the divine in action. That every trait, every attribute, every quality of the one is present in each one of us. Be we man or woman, or non-binary, or transitioning, or exploring, we are that which it is, in its fullness, in its most perfect form. The infinitude of divine goodness means there is an infinite amount of ways for it to show up, balanced and beautiful. And so I know each one of us in this sanctuary are blessed, 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 held in a space of being accepted and loved and celebrated for exactly who we are. And that as we lean into that goodness, more and more and more good pours forth so powerfully. But what the world needs is more people who are living their truth, shining their light, being the power that we are. I know it for myself. I know it for everyone within the sound of my voice. That God is here, and it is good. And so it is.